The official definition of self-discipline is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses.
Discipline. If there is a magic word that stands out above all the rest, this is the one. Discipline. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment.
Discipline is the root of all good qualities, but you have to absolutely apply it to things outside of just waking up early.
See, the problem with you is you rarely exercise your self-discipline muscle. You just go with the flow. No backbone whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine until you start whining and complaining about your lack of success.
Failure is not a cataclysmic event. It is not generally the result of one major incident, but rather a long list of accumulated little failings. Failing in life is failing to think today, failing to act today, failing to care, to strive, to climb, to learn, to keep trying day by day. If your goal requires that you write 10 letters today and you write only 3, you are down 7 letters. If you want to make 5 calls and you only make 1, you are down 4 on calls. If your plan calls for saving $10 today and you save none, you're down $10 today. Now the danger is looking at an undisciplined day and concluding that no great harm has been done. It doesn't seem like such a bad day, but add up these days to make a year, and then add up those years to make a lifetime, and perhaps you can now see how repeating today's small failures can easily turn your life into a major disaster.
Whining and complaining about your lack of progress. Whining and complaining that you're not gaining any momentum and you can't seem to get ahead in life. See, self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do. So don't talk to me about your failures. Don't talk to me about your setbacks. Don't talk to me about the lack of success you are achieving, because I'm that one. I'm that one that will tell you the exact reason why you are failing. You're failing because on a daily basis, you fail to exercise your self-discipline muscle. On a daily basis, you fail to sacrifice. You're failing because on a daily basis, you fail to come up with a plan. On a daily basis, you fail to get uncomfortable. You fail to push past your limits. And you fail to believe in yourself.
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. What are you gonna do? I don't want you to get all emotional from this message that I'm leaving. Yeah, that's that real right there. 10 minutes later, 10 days later, you go back to doing the same shit. It's go season.
It's everything. It's working out every day, making yourself stronger and faster and more flexible and healthier. Discipline is eating the right foods to fuel your system. It's about disciplining your emotions so you can make good decisions. It's about having the discipline to control your ego so your ego doesn't get out of hand and control you.
And then we sat down and had a heart-to-heart conversation with ourselves. We self-assessed and took complete ownership for all of the lack of success that we were achieving. Then we made the decision to flip the switch and made the necessary changes to go into the kitchen of our lives and cook up a dish of massive success. And we quickly realized that a key ingredient is self-discipline.
It's about treating people the way you would want to be treated. And doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you know will help you or help your team. It's about facing your fears. It takes discipline to face your fears so you can conquer them. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right for yourself and for other people. It's so often the easy path that calls to us to be weak for that moment, to break down for that moment, to give in to the desire and the short-term gratification. But the discipline will not allow that. The discipline calls for strength and fortitude and will. It won't accept weakness. It won't tolerate another breakdown. The discipline can seem like it's your worst enemy, but the reality is, discipline is your best friend. It will take care of you like nothing else can. And it'll put you on that path. The path to strength and health and intelligence and happiness. And most importantly, it'll put you on that path to freedom.
Success, on the other hand, is just the same process in reverse. If you plan to make 10 calls and you end the day making 15, now you're up 5 calls. If you then get up a few on letters, move up the savings numbers, you can see what a massive difference it could make in a year, and what wealth and accomplishment awaits for a lifetime. Discipline is like a set of magic keys that unlocks all the doors of wealth, happiness, sophistication, culture, high self-esteem, pride, joy, accomplishment, satisfaction, and success. The first key to discipline is awareness of the need for and the value of discipline, and especially the discipline to make the changes. What will it take? What must I do? And what must I become to get all I want from my life? The second key is the willingness. More than that, the eagerness to maintain your new discipline deliberately, wisely, consistently. And the third key to discipline is the commitment to master the circumstances of your daily life, to see and harness the opportunities to make something of the sun and the rain, the good as well as what comes in the guise of misfortune. Discipline does many things, but most important of all is what it does for you. It makes you feel better about yourself. Even the smallest discipline can have an incredible effect on your attitude. And the good feeling you get, that surging feeling of self-worth that comes from starting a new discipline, is almost as good as the feeling that comes from the accomplishment of the discipline.
The Marines have a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And that's just real. At the center of bringing any dream into fruition is self-discipline. Every day we are choosing that's not in our own best interest, right? So if the world is attacking you and the world wants to fight you and the world's trying to hold you down, so you're going to kick yourself in the balls? So you're going to stop yourself from getting what you dream. Self-discipline is the center of all material success. You cannot win the war against the world if you can't win the war against your own mind.
If you can believe it, you can receive it.
Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over.
If you can conceive it, you can attain it. The most powerful tool that you have right now in your life, in your body, is your mind.
Your brain is like a circuit switch. Once you believe you are something, you actually embody it. You embody that feeling. If you were, God forbid, in a coma, and you woke up and you didn't really have a memory, and you were told that you used to be a Navy SEAL, and they want you back now when you're healthy, do you think you'd act differently and hold yourself differently, conduct yourself different, and have a different self-concept of who you are than if you were told you were a piano instructor? Being successful in life is all about having the proper belief system in who you are. Truly believing that you are something unique, that you are something special in that field.
Sometimes you just have to believe in yourself. Nothing can be achieved until first it's believed. You have to believe it to see it. Sometimes the easiest way to get what you want is to just start. to just take that first step. You can do and be anything that you want, no matter what. Greatness isn't achieved by that one massive thing you do. It's those tiny little consistent baby steps we take every single day that add up to achieving that goal. Amazing things happen when you believe you have something. Your brain actively goes out to make it happen. Believe that you can do it and work hard to get it, and it's yours.
Stand up for what you want in your life. Decide that your life is so meaningful to you, that you love you and you love life so much that you're going to stand up for something you want. Stand up for what you believe in, because you can fall for anything. So what I say to you, that you are powerful. You have miracle working power in your life right now. But you've got to work on yourself. You've got to develop yourself. You've got to talk to yourself day in and day out, selling yourself on you and on your potentials. And you've got to know that you are worth all of your effort. And that the key to your motivation, as you get a larger vision of yourself, is to know that you have something to give. Is to know that you have a reason for being in the universe.
There is so much more power that's inside you. If you make up in your mind, I choose to believe that I can do great things. And I want you to seriously think about your life. Like, think about where you are internally.
There's a good chance that all you've ever been told or made to feel in your life so far is that you can't do shit. That every time you even dared to dream your life could be better, you were shot down or laughed at, made to feel small, made to feel useless, made to feel like an idiot for even thinking you could be more. All of us have had these moments in our life where just at that point we thought it was possible, a massive shadow of doubt was thrown on us. When you think it's not going to be possible and you're going to fail, your brain thinks disappointment, which is pain, and it avoids it. When you think it's going to be hard work and it's going to take ages, your brain thinks pain and avoids it. The first thing you've got to do to get what you want is believe that you can. Believe it's possible for you to have it. And if there's someone out there that has done it or got what you want, why the f*** ain't it possible for you? Believe that you can. And once you want something and believe that you can get it, you've got to block out all of the noise around you that's going to tell you can't do it. Don't listen to all that shit. Just believe that you can.
Birds of a feather flock together. If you run around with losers, you will end up a loser.
Show me your friends and I show you your future. You want to know why you're all f***ed up? Just look at the fucking bums you hang around with. You are, as I've said before, you are the average of the 5 people that you spent the most time with growing up.
It's necessary that you get the losers out of your life if you want to live your dream. It's necessary to know that everybody won't see it, that everybody won't join you, that everybody won't have the vision. It's necessary to know that a lot of people like to complain, but they don't want to do anything about their situation. That you are an uncommon breed. You know, you have to know within yourself that I can do this. Even if no one else sees it for me, I must see it for myself.
Wondering why other people's success, wondering why other people are successful is the refuge of losers. It's a loser mentality. It's a loser occupation because you're wondering why other people are successful. Like, who gives a you can say you think it sucks, but to spend time wondering why someone is successful and hating on someone for being successful, it doesn't do any good.
You want to align yourself with people who think like you, people who dream like you, people who want more out of life, people that are stretching and searching, as opposed to the majority of people. Somebody said always strive to get on top in life because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. And so you don't want to be on the bottom. See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. Doesn't take any motivation, any drive. But it calls on everything in you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential.
So you want to surround yourself, you got to think about this. You got to surround yourself with people who want the best for the best part of you. You can hang around with weasels and losers that are trying to pull you down to justify the fact that they're spiraling downhill as well. And you know, the upside of that is you don't have to have any responsibility and you can all whine about how wretched life is, you know, so that's pretty attractive. But I would say it's also a bad medium to long-term plan.
So at the end of the day, who is it? Whose fucking fault is it? Whose fault is it that you're not going the way you want to go? Whose fault is it that you can't seem to get going? It's you. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's no excuse to not succeed. There's no excuse to not win, and there's no excuse to not dominate. The only fucking reason you're not winning is because A, you're not doing the fucking job the right way, or B, you haven't been doing it long enough. And that's it. There are no other fucking reasons. Because at the end of the day, winners are gonna fucking win, and losers are gonna fucking lose, no matter what. Your job needs to be to provide all the tools, to provide all the education, to provide all the training repetitively, and to do everything that you can to set up your people for success, and then let them weed themselves out. When you figure out who's the winners are, the 5% out of the 5 people out of every 100 that you have that are going to be winners, you pour your fucking energy into them. Those are the people you build around. Those are the people you pay more.
You are responsible for your life. And if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time, because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward. And the sooner you get that, the sooner your life gets into gear.
Here's the truth. This is the reality, okay? Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it. The work is going to come before the belief, which means you're going to have to work for a long fucking time by yourself with no applause, with no awards, with nobody telling you good job. And then once you start to build something and people start to see the momentum and they start to see the result and you start doing some things, then you're going to get a little belief.
And the common denominator of failure is blaming something else. In the height of the recession, we all blame the recession. We blame Congress. We blame the president. We blame Greece for a while, right? The euro was killing some bar named Joe's Bar in Toledo. We blamed everything but ourselves. But yet, if you think about it, in the height of the recession, somebody was making money. Why not you? So if you didn't blame the recession, if you blamed yourself, you might have acted differently. You see, every day you wake up and blame somebody else is a day you don't have to do anything about it. If you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you say, I'm failing because of me, even in sight of the recession, even in existence of the various problems, construction in my street, competitive environment, new digital world, meat prices are high, no matter what, you can make money. Look in the mirror and own it. I'm failing because of me. And don't allow any excuse to get involved. You won't like it. And if you don't like being a failure, then that day you're going to do something differently. And the next morning, wake up and say it again, and say it again, until you can look at yourself and say, I fixed it. Own your failure, and then you'll own your success. This is all about self-accountability. If you take that accountability and push it aside and put it on your employees, your boss, your rent, your utility costs, anything other than you, you no longer have accountability and you skate free, and then you're on a path of failure.
Nobody is going to cry for you. They have their own tears. One thing I'm positive about is how ROI negative complaining is and how much I'm trying to suffocate the practice of it. I really have been fascinated by people that have changed their mindset into understanding that everything that is not going well right now is their fault. It has been remarkably important to me in understanding that everything that I'm not happy about is on me. It's a remarkably interesting brain twist. The amount of energy spent on things that you can't control versus being accountable to what you can control has been a huge separator for me in the last 4 or 5 years as I've dug deep.
Take full responsibility for what happens to you. It's one of the highest forms of human maturity, accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood, The day you accept full responsibility. And another note, learn to reap in the fall without apology. Without apology if you do well, and without complaint if you don't. That's maturity.
Only you can save you. If you don't accept full responsibility for your life, no resolution, no goal, no dream will save you. You must take full responsibility for your life, for the good that arrives and the ugly and inconvenient. If you are the type to play the blame game, to play victim, bad things always happen to me. I'm not where I want to be because of this person or because of this event. If you are this type of person, you will never get on in life.
The decisions you make right now is up to you. You crying about something that happened to you when you was a kid. You ain't even no kid no more. You a grown man. Take full ownership. The stupid stuff you doing, your parents didn't make you play no video games. And what you crying about? So what your daddy wasn't there? Your mama ended up getting married. What you crying about? He went to work every day. He never beat you. He never abused you. Your mama did the best she knew how to do. What you crying about? You grew up in a house. What you crying about? Did somebody beat your butt because you did something you wasn't supposed to do? What you crying about? Nobody just came home and started whipping you. Man up.
Well, what are you leaving out if you're leaving out responsibility? And the answer might be, well, maybe you're leaving out the meaning of life. That's what it looks like to me. It's like, here you are, suffering away. What makes it worthwhile? Right? You know, you're completely out. You have no idea what it's almost impossible to describe how bad an idea that is. Responsibility. That's what gives life meaning. It's like lift a load. Then you can tolerate yourself, right? Because look at, you're useless, easily hurt, easily killed. Why should you have any self-respect?
You know, if you're going to exist as a leader and as a human, then you need to take responsibility for what happens around you. And that's, again...
Yeah, you have to take, well, the religious notion in some sense is that you have to take ultimate responsibility, in that, in some sense, the things that happen around you, something like every man is responsible for everything that happens to him and everything that happens to everyone else. But there's a level at which that's metaphysically true, you know, because what happens is that it's failure to act often that's the most catastrophic. It's to not do the right thing when the situation presents itself. And it's very specific. You know, you're constantly in situations where you could do the right thing if you were willing to take a risk that's actually of relatively moderate size. And you know that you could take the risk, and you know that you should take the risk, and you don't. And that happens to people all the time. And then what happens is the thing that they didn't oppose grows a little bit, and they shrink a little bit. And that starts a loop, hey?
Taking responsibility for whatever happens to you. Knowing that you have consciously made the decisions that are now affecting you. Knowing that what is happening now, today, is the direct result of your activity, what you did yesterday. Self-reliance means counting on yourself, trusting yourself, being confident with yourself, being responsible to yourself, trusting your own instincts. Trusting the conclusions that you have developed from your study of experiences and philosophies, taking the credit that is due you, learning from the mistakes that you have made.
You have to begin telling yourself a different narrative, and the narrative you tell yourself about yourself is everything. And once I switched my narrative to being the learner, it didn't matter where I started, it only mattered where I was trying to go. And as long as I had that clarity, then I could execute, because I believed I could do anything I set my mind to without limitation.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. Well, the first thing I think you need to understand is that these people that you're comparing yourself to, you don't really know very well. What that means is that you see their shiny outside, but you don't see the reality of their life. You know, you can't tell, and people have hard lives, and and even people who are comparatively fortunate have hard lives. And the ideal that you're observing that makes you jealous and resentful is in large part an illusion that's created by your own mind.
Stop comparing yourself to other people. You're only on this planet to be you, not someone else's imitation of you. I had to learn that the hard way on the air live, anchoring the news. And that little breakthrough, that little crack, that little moment that I stopped pretending allowed the real me to come through. Your life journey is about learning to become more of who you are and fulfilling the highest, truest expression of yourself as a human being. That's why you're here.
Look, human beings, we can't help ourselves but compare ourselves to others. And comparison is the deadliest thing we can do to ourselves, because we will always come up short. And all it does is exaggerate all of our insecurities.
My number one competition is me. It's always you versus you. You got to be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that gains success. No coach, no trainer, no mentor, no boss can do it. You versus you.
It's been said that the greatest disease affecting humanity is that feeling of I am not enough. The feeling of I am not enough can only exist by comparing yourself to another and living your life by expectations that aren't your own.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Yeah, well, you got to improve, right? Obviously, I'm not perfect, but I'm slightly less terrible than I was yesterday. Man, you keep that up for 5 years, and you're wherever you should be. That isn't where someone else should be, right? Because you really are an individual.
Figure out who you are, don't apologize for who you are, and then become even greater than you naturally are at what you are.
Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, who's your hero? And I said, I don't know, I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks. I come back 2 weeks later, this person comes up and says, who's your hero? I said, I thought about it. You know who it is? I said, it's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, so are you a hero? And I was like, not even close. No. She said, why? I said, because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me, because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing. So to any of us, whatever those things are, whatever it is we look up to, whatever it is we look forward to, and whoever it is we're chasing, to that I say amen. To that I say, all right, all right, all right.
The first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful, but you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. This is the Peter Pan story, roughly speaking. Peter Pan is this magical boy. Pan is the god of everything, roughly speaking. And he's the boy that won't grow up. And he's magical. Well, that's because children are magical. They can be anything. They're nothing but potential. And Peter Pan doesn't want to give that up. Why? Well, he's got some adults around him, but the main adult is Captain Hook. Well, who the hell wants to grow up to be Captain Hook? First of all, you've got a hook. Second, you're a tyrant. And third, you're chased by the dragon of chaos with a clock in its stomach, right? The crocodile. It's already got a piece of you. Well, that's what happens when you get older. Time has already got a piece of you. And eventually, it's got a taste for you. And eventually, it's going to eat you. And so Hook is so traumatized by that he can't help but be a tyrant. And then Peter Pan looks at traumatized Hook and says, well, no, I'm not sacrificing my childhood for that. So that's fine, except he ends up king of the Lost Boys. In Neverland, well, Neverland doesn't exist, and who the hell wants to be king of the Lost Boys? And he also sacrifices the possibility that he'll have a real relationship with a woman, because that's Wendy, right? And she's kind of conservative, middle-class, London-dwelling girl. She wants to grow up and have kids and have a life. She accepts her mortality. She accepts her maturity. Peter Pan has to content himself with Tinkerbell. She doesn't even exist. She's like the fairy of porn. She doesn't exist. She's the substitute for the real thing. And so But the dichotomy that you're talking about is very tricky because there's a sacrificial element in maturation, right? You have to sacrifice the pluripotentiality of childhood for the actuality of a frame. And the question is, well, why would you do that? Well, one reason is it happens to you whether you do it or not. You can either choose your damn limitation, or you can let it take you unaware when you're 30. The problem with being a child is that all you are is potential, and it's really low resolution. You could be anything, but you're not anything. So then you go and you adopt an apprenticeship, roughly speaking, and then you become, at least you become something. And when you're something, that makes the world open up to you again. Part of the proper path of development in the last half of life was to rediscover the child that you left behind as you were apprenticing. And so then you get to be something and regain that potential at the same time.
What do you say to those viewers that don't pursue their dreams and are locked in their careers because they are too afraid to take risks and pursue something meaningful?
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful, but you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. You're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking.
Yeah,
and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice. If you need to change your job too, let's say you have a family and children and a mortgage, you have responsibilities. You've already picked up those responsibilities. You don't just get to walk away scot-free and say, well, I don't like my job, I quit. That's no strategy. But what you might have to do is you think, well, this job is killing my soul. All right, so what do I have to do about that? Well, I have to look for another job. Well, no one wants to hire me. It's like, okay, maybe you need to educate yourself. Maybe you need to overcome your fear of being interviewed. Maybe you need to sharpen your social skills. Like, you have to think about these things strategically. If you're going to switch careers, you have to do it like an intelligent, responsible person. That might take you a couple of years of effort to do properly. It took me a long time to understand what sacrifice meant. I started to understand that people often acted out conceptions before they understood what they meant. In any case, the idea of sacrifice, what a sacrifice means is that you give up something of value in the present so that you can improve the future. And that's no different from what we call discipline. It's exactly the same thing. It's just the concretely acted out version of that. So the idea is that you have to give up something of value now so that you make the future better. And sometimes it's even something you love now, and that's a good example too, because often the things that stop us from moving forward are our attachments to things that we should no longer be attached to, right? And in fact, you can almost make that definitional. If you're not moving forward in your life, there's a high probability that you have some idea or some mode of action or some habit that you're so in love with that you won't let go of it.
I don't want to change what you do today. I want to change the way you think.
Everybody's got a dream. Everybody's got a goal. What's the plan? And your plan has got to have something I call the C5 complex. Your plan has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. You got to have a plan. And when you're trying to do something that you're truly passionate about, there is no plan B.
You know who has a plan B? Motherfuckers that lose. That's a fact. Okay? Every single person that wins big, every single person that you look at, every single person that you're inspired by, every single person that you aspire to be like, they only have one plan, and that is they are going to win or they are going to die trying. All these people out there talking about, oh, well, if that doesn't work out, I'll just go back to this, whatever this is, which happens to be their miserable life they have now. All right, those people always lose, and I'll tell you why. There's a real easy reason to understand. Because the people who go all in, the who burn the ships and leave themselves no other option but success, Those people are dedicating all their skills, all their resources, all their energy into producing a specific outcome. And if you're competing against someone who's going all in with every resource they have, and you're only going half in because you're half in and you're half out, guess what? You're gonna lose. So you guys out there with your plan B mentality, you need to take that crumple it up and set it on fire, because all it's gonna get you is more of what you already have.
I hate plan B. When you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous, because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan, I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A. And it's very important to understand that we function better if there is no safety net, because plan B becomes a safety net. It says that if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else that will protect me. And that's not good.
Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. But we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
Insanity, you've seen this before, is doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. I don't want to change what you do today. I want to change the way you think. If you wake up tomorrow morning and blame your failure on someone or something else, you have no reason to change, do you? If you do tomorrow what you did today, you will get tomorrow what you got today. That is the definition of not growing. If you do tomorrow what you did today, you didn't grow, did you? Then you get tomorrow what you got today. You didn't grow, did you?
The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A.
Stop telling your visions to other people, because they're not going to see it. Why you think you keep imagining opening a business? Why do you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining driving a really nice car? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that? Because God is talking to you. He's showing you something that He has for you.
Time is short.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become.
Why do we always connect money and time? And why are we so anxious about both of these things? The most basic human conundrum is that we have an unlimited list of things that we want and need to do, but only a limited number of resources to tick items off that list. The most limited resource of all is time. We have an unknown but finite amount, and once it's gone, there's no getting it back.
The biggest mistake is you think you have time. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once it's lost, you can never get it back. The average person lives 78 years. We spend 28.3 years of our life sleeping. That's almost a third of our life. We spend 10.5 years of our life working, but over 50% of us want to leave our current jobs. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can never get more time. That leaves us with 9 years. How will we spend that time?
There's only one thing in our lives that we're never able to reacquire once it's gone. And I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about material items, I'm talking about time. And it's such a unique concept, unique idea, because when utilized correctly, it contains the ingredients to success, to happiness, to growth, prosperity, all the things we want. But at the very same time, if neglected, it leaves us with very little.
Every one of us here has been given the same amount of time in a day. 1,440 minutes a day, 168 hours per week. What is your life? It's even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. The brevity of time, that brings us to the urgency of time.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired? Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
You know what I hear? I hear the clock ticking. And time waits for no man. Life goes by, and it goes by quick. Don't waste those years. Don't waste them. Live them. I want you to be terrified of sitting on the sidelines and doing nothing. Waking up in 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 years or 60 years and being no closer to your goal. You've made no progress. That is the nightmare.
If the lion is the king of the jungle, how can he be the king of the jungle? If he's not the biggest, the elephant is probably one of the biggest. He can't be the fastest because that's a cheetah. He can't be the smartest. So he's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. So how does a lion become the king of the jungle? His mentality. That's the only difference of a lion and an elephant. When a lion walks up and sees an elephant, he thinks lunch. An elephant thinks run. Because when a male lion walks up, he may be outnumbered by a pack of hyenas. But I'm king of my jungle because of my mentality.
Can you be committed to the process of what you do without being emotionally attached to the result of what you do? Because a lot of people can be committed to the process of what they do if the results don't change. But the moment the result or the outcome changes of what they're chasing, they shut it down or they quit simply because the result changed. So can we be committed to the process of what we do, but not emotionally to the result of what we do, understanding every day I get up and give everything I got to everything I'm a part of simply because this is who I am. Like the only thing I need every day of my life is 86,400 seconds. That's it. Like I don't need, hey, you go hard, you'll get this. Like I don't need some reward. Like I don't need, the only thing I need is breath in my body, and I'm gonna flat out go and get it.
When a lion sees a gazelle and the gazelle sees the lion, both beasts see each other at the exact same time. When the gazelle sees the lion, because of how he's wired, he automatically, fear takes over. When the lion sees the gazelle, he lights up. It's showtime. The hunt is on. This is what I was made for. Right? For real, there's some of you, there are opportunities that you're like, it's too difficult. It's too hard. Nobody can do it. You're not wired properly. I must turn it into a t-shirt. We turn tragedy into triumph. We turn that's what lions do. Lions don't cry. Lions don't give up. Lions don't quit. Lions hunt. That's what we do for a living. And if you are a true lion, it does not make a difference what the circumstances is. So what? We're in a recession. We made more money in a recession than we've ever made before. As a matter of fact, it was the recession that birthed us. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do. Everybody gets excited. Like for real, you walk out of here pumped up, fired up, you get some new information, you're ready. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. And what you have to understand is you can't just say you want it. You can't watch the video and say, I want it as bad as I want to breathe. It's cute to say it. But when it's showtime, when the sun comes up, you've got all the books, you've got all the tapes, you've got all the access. Now it's time to hunt. And what separates you from everybody else is that when it's time to hunt, you're ready to hunt. What's gonna separate you is when it's beast time, when it's war time, you gotta get up and make it happen.
It takes both emotion and logic for you to reach your maximum potential, to really give everything you have and go beyond your limits. I don't stop. So you fight the weak emotions with the power of logic, and you fight the weakness of logic with the power of emotions. And in the balance of those two, that's where you find the strength and the tenacity and the guts to say to yourself, I don't stop. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed. You need to get things done. If you are going to rest, that is one thing that you should procrastinate on. That's the one thing I want you to put off until tomorrow. And if, when tomorrow comes, you still feel like you need to rest or you need to take a break, then okay. But the chances are you won't. You won't need that rest. Chances are you will realize that the desire to rest was just weakness. It was just the desire to take the path of least resistance. It's the downhill path, the easy path. And by simply going through the motions, you overcame that path. And you stayed on the righteous path, the disciplined path. You stayed on the war path.
How many of you know people who moan and groan and complain about life all the time? They might moan and groan about their job. I'm sick of this job. And they just moan and groan and complain all the time and never do anything about it. They haven't got to the point where they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They just have enough energy to complain about it, and they consider that, in fact, they believe that that's equivalent to doing something about it, just complaining. No. That can't get you where you want to go. That cannot create your reality for you. The other thing that keeps most people from realizing their true greatness and their true potential, circumstances, their environment. There are many people who believe because of where they're born, because of the area where they are in life and where they find themselves, that's all they know.
Just a laziness thing. It's a discipline thing. And like this idea that there's some sort of nobility and humility and not caring about your body, it's silly. You only get one. You get one. It doesn't make you dumber if you work out. Stop. I know that jocks were assholes and people bullied you. I get it. But god damn it, take care of your fucking meat vehicle. It's good. It feels good to move your body. It feels good. It feels good to do things. I just like moving my body, man. I like running up hills. You move your body. Get it going. You'll feel better afterwards. I know you don't want to do it. I fucking hardly ever want to do it. I maybe want to actually do it 5 out of 10 times, but I do it.
The other thing is that you got to work your butt off. If you think that you're gonna go and accomplish something really special and be the best in anything in the world, and you think you can do it without working, you make a big mistake. Because no matter what I did, if it was in bodybuilding or in acting or if it is in the political arena, it always took a lot of work. And you got to put out, and you got to, sometimes make a lot of sacrifices. Notice, if you're not willing to work hard, forget about it. So there's another rule that is very important. I think another one is just don't be afraid to fail. Because if you're afraid to fail, then you're always holding yourself back because you're afraid that if you go all out, you may fail. Well, in weightlifting, we learned that very quickly. The only way you could break a record is if you're willing to fail. That's when you put on more weight, you try it, sometimes you would not be able to lift it, which has happened to me many times, but eventually, when you train hard enough, you will lift it. So don't be afraid to fail. I mean, how far can you fall?